And joining us at the big desk for the very first time, a football great whose trophy cabinet is loaded with silverware, including the 1999 Champions League, 7 Premier League titles and 4 FA Cups. Wow. Manchester United legend Roy Keane.
Some quality in the studio!
Finally!
It's a bit hard to replace TT. We're very happy to have you. I know everyone in America is very happy to have you too. We're expecting the no-nonsense approach tonight.
Yeah, I hope so, yeah. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, all straightforward.
All good, ready to
Who's more famous in America, Roy Keane or Roy Kent?
But of course, we're all here for the Europa League final. Your former side, it's United's 3rd Europa League final in, what, 8 years? How confident are you feeling?
Yeah, I mentioned it last week. I think I was really confident last week about United, but as I've got closer to the game, I'm starting to have a bit more doubts about, which United team will turn up. Obviously, both teams are struggling for league form. Spurs obviously have beaten United a few times already this season. So it's a really difficult one to call. And again, it'll come down to a moment which top player will turn up. And hopefully someone like Bruno will do the business, because I think all the pressure's on Man United. If Spurs lose, I'll think it's typical Spurs. If United lose it, it will be, I think, almost a shock to the system on the back of their poor league campaign.
Your old mate there?
Yeah.
Sir Alex Ferguson?
Yeah.
No words?
Sorry?
No words?
On...
your old mate?
We're all mates.
Micah?
Sir Alex Ferguson? No?
No, well, I hope he enjoys the game, yeah. I hope it's a good night for all United supporters and ex-managers.
We've got Captain Fantastic next to us of your Manchester United teams. I mean, what a captain he was, and you're bosom buddies now.
He's hesitating.
It's really nice to have. It's really nice, Roy, to have you on the show.
I'm not sure you're supposed to talk.
No.
No, you might drop it.
If you want it,
you can.
Anyway. Roy, it's nice to have you on the show. It's really nice for the American people to get a little bit of Roy Keane.
Yes.
You know?
We could all do a bit of Roy Keane in our lives. Thank you so much, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
We'll be back with you in just a moment. Do you agree, Roy? Do you think this is his penultimate game in charge?
Yeah, I think so. And on the back of it, because the pressure's been under, and to lose 21 games, listen, that's hard to take. But if he can win a trophy, then you think it's probably, in a strange way, a good time to leave. But of course, if he loses, you're thinking the pressure will just be mounted on him. I think he has been a bit narky lately. I think when he first came into the Premier League, everyone was enjoying his humour, the novelty of it. But the pressure's took its toll on him. You can see that. You can see with him, it's been building. But having said that, I think Spurs, whatever's gone on this year, if they can push all that to the side, this is where you need a strong mentality for a final. Almost obviously forget the league campaign. Yeah. If they can win tonight, then it'll be a great night for Spurs. That's the nature of it, and that's where it's a test for Spurs, where we've always been critical over the years. They certainly have to have a good mentality tonight and a belief that they can beat Man United.
You, Roy?
Yeah, well, clearly there's problems on and off the field at United. That's it. But what would help when you start winning football matches? All of a sudden, you think that will drive the club forward. I think when we played years ago, we knew there was a business to United. We knew what was going on in the background, but we were driven to win football matches. Whereas now, we're talking too much about what's happening at United at board level, takeovers over the last few years, problems in the background. Get back to winning football matches, and hopefully that will then fall into place. But first and foremost, remember what you're at a football club for. You're there to win football matches, and United certainly, obviously, have been doing that well enough for the last few months. And all that creates pressure on the pitch and off the pitch.
Europa League final, Spurs leading a 0-0 at the break. Now, Roy, people worried it would be a cagey affair given how much is on the line. Champions League qualification, much needed financial stimulus for both clubs. But Spurs got the goal. What are your thoughts on the
huge moment? Well, really lack of quality. They've almost brought their league form to the table, but there's been tension, obviously. Yeah. And the Spurs have managed to get their nose in front. Big moment, obviously. We're giving Johnson a go, but I think it might come off Shaw. We mentioned before the game about getting bodies in there. United having bodies back, but not obviously doing a defensive job. And we look at it closely. I still think, and we saw crosses in swingers earlier. I think Maguire's got to focus on clearing the ball. Johnson does a brilliant run. Obviously, he's nice and aggressive. But United, enough bodies back, but not doing enough. And I think, again, question marks over the keeper. Looks like an OG to me.
A lot of people want your thoughts on your former club, Manchester United, but did the better team win today?
Yeah, I think so. I think we worried to start the second half. They shut up shop very early, and obviously they were just going to be defensive, but they defended really well, unlike Spurs, shall we say. United lack real quality, and when United are dependent on Harry Maguire to get you out of jail at the end of the game, it sums up their problem. And I think the goal summed up the game. Real lack of quality, poor decision-making from United at the end. But what a great night for Spurs. Considering the season had, the pressure they were under, the manager, you look at the celebrations there, well done to Spurs. Hi, Ange. Roy Keane here. I just want to say, Ange, well done. Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant performance. Was it part of your tactic with so long to go, just to sit back in and shut up shop, really? Did you think one goal would be enough? Did you actually believe that?
Yeah, I thought we could, Roy. We've been really disciplined in Europe away from home. I mean, I think we kept a clean sheet at Frankfurt. We kept a clean sheet at Bodo away from home, and very similar performances. And this group's, you know, got that resilience in them now. Look, it makes a difference when I've got Van der Ven, Romero, Udogie, Vicario, you know, and then, you know, Bissouma and obviously Pyro right back with Bissouma and Bentancur.
Have you got your shin pads on, James?
No, not quite. To be fair, I wasn't going to do any interviews, but then I heard it was with Roy Keane, so I
Come on, Roy. It's on you.
Hey, brothers, can you do the dance sign, please? Do it. Do it for us, will ya?
Oh, will I? With pleasure, Michael. With pleasure. Roy Keane, that's for you, sir.
I've always said he's a good player. I've always said he's a good player, but he needs to be more consistent. Simple as that. And he played well tonight.
The reason why we were here tonight, Roy.
Don't worry, I know you played your part. Well done, don't worry.
I'm only messing. No, I came down to other word. He just pulled me, but...
So we ask our defenders, people talk about our midfielders, about doing a job. You've got to multitask. You've got to be able to do this and still clear the ball, as if, like, I've got my man here. No, you've got to multitask. Do more than one job.
It's just been too easy. I think
Far too easy. It's been like that all season for United. Far too easy.
Roy, unfortunately, we can't have you next season for a Manchester United perspective, but would you come as a Spurs fan?
Can we swap them for anyone?
Not sure. Let me
You're
have a
not
think
sure?
about it.
Speak to your agent.
We've enjoyed having you in the studio. Marks out of 10 for Roy's debut?
Absolutely
11.
brilliant. 11. 10 out of 10.
Hey, start.
Who's Kate? Who's Thierry?
Oh, we've got a new team in town.
Yeah,
New
a
team in town. What would you give Anita?
10 out of 10, baby.
You guys, you've been a
lovely.
pleasure to work with.
What would you like?
Me?
Me?
Your analysis, 10 out of 10.
We're always
7 out of
top-notch,
10.
aren't we?
Take 7,
We're
take
always
7.
top-notch, aren't we?
You should probably send Tottenham that analysis. They might need it next season.
Yeah, might do.
OK, well, congratulations to Tottenham Hotspur. Thank you to Jamie, Roy and Micah. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us for the Europa League final. Of course, you'll have Championship playoff at the weekend and then Champions League final next week in Munich. PSG against Inter Milan. We can't wait to see you. Take care.
Ruben, I know how much you love your job. You talk about that a lot, and I mean, this has got to be the worst. To come out here and try to explain how this game didn't turn out the way that we all wanted it to turn out.
Yeah, it's part of the job. We have to deal with that, and we have to try to explain the people the feeling of the dressing room. We are obviously devastated with this loss. We lost one game in this competition. We didn't win it in the last game. I think if you look at the whole game, we were the better team. But in the end, if you don't score goals, you cannot win matches.
How do you think the game was played by your players today?
I think the first half was a little bit tense. The possessions in both teams was not long. We couldn't keep the balls for so long. Tottenham the same way, a lot of second balls. But in the second half, we push the opponent to near the box. We try to cross, to create situations. So in the end, they defend the goal that they score in the divide match in the first half. In the second half, we try everything, but in the end, was nothing.
We talked before the game. We talked about obviously it was the access to the Champions League, and we're not going to talk too much about the future. But is there a contingency plan now that we're not in the Champions League, and you may think you have more time to develop the team. Is that a positive that we can take out of this?
Yeah, it's hard to talk about positives today, but we need to take advantage of everything.
But
so
we need a little bit of positive.
if we are going to suffer because we don't have Champions League and it's hard on the club, but in the other side we'll have time to develop the team, to pay attention to our academy and to prepare the future. So that is clear. We need to use every minute to improve the team, and of course we always have the two plans to go to the summer.
Luke, how are you feeling?
Devastated. I think the outcome just goes with how our season's been. Nowhere near good enough. And we have to take responsibility for that, us as players. It's nowhere near good enough for a club like Manchester United. We have to question ourselves, are we good enough to be at this club? Because this season is nowhere near acceptable, like I just said. And yeah, the fans, you know, I can only apologise. And I think they're probably bored of hearing the same things, because there's probably been a lot of apologising this season, because most of it has not been good enough. But also I'd just like to say thank you to them for their support, because, you know, through this, probably the worst season ever, you know, they've stuck by us and they've been with us every step of the way, you know, even through every bad result that we've had. You know, they've stuck with us, and, you know, we appreciate that.
What went wrong tonight?
I think the moral of our season, really. That goal's so super lucky, so lucky. But then, you know, we concede, and then it's an uphill task. I think this whole season we've struggled to score goals, and I think that was the game. I hardly remember them having many chances at all, to be honest. I think we dominated the game. In my opinion, they were there for the taking. I think we could feel it, even at half-time, 1-0 down. Could feel it, you know. We just need to score, and the game turns on its head, and it's a completely different outcome. But it's just the season that it's been. We've found it really hard to score, and that's the trouble. When you concede and you're struggling to score, it's a massive hill to climb.
You started this interview using the word devastated. There's probably 20,000 people who've travelled over who'll feel like that as well. Is there any room for optimism, or is this just as low as it gets?
Honestly, in my opinion, it's the lowest we can get. It's the lowest of the low. You know, a club like Manchester United, closer to relegation than, you know, even a Europa spot, a Champions League spot. It's honestly, it's like I said, it's nowhere near good enough. And yeah, there is no room for optimism. You know, like I said, it's just the only room is for questioning ourselves.
But you know, you've got contracts. You're going to stay at the club. The manager's probably not going to be going anywhere. This group of players, surely it's got to be better than the league position that they're in.
No, that's exactly what I just said. But that just shows the state of the club we're in. You know, the manager is 100% the right person to take this club back to where it should be, 100%.
Why?
Because he knows exactly what needs to be done at this club. You know, I think it's a massive club. So much has to change, not just on the pitch, but outside of the pitch. You know, inside the club. You know, there needs to be so many changes.
Like what?
I don't want to go too much into them right now. I don't think it's the right time. But I think us as players, we have to change. We have to change the mindset. You know, the mentality, the belief, the belief that in games like this we can win. I feel like we lacked that at times tonight. You know, I think you could see it. I think we didn't believe that we were going to score, and that hurts us. But like I said, Ruben 100% will turn this club around, and this club will be successful again. It's not something that changes, you know, in a day, in a month, maybe not even a year. But the club needs change, and Ruben's for sure the right person to do it.
Bruno, it's been a difficult evening. What, in your view, is the difference between the two sides tonight?
Oh, obviously, they scored a goal. We couldn't get our goal. Create some chances, and we couldn't find the net. Obviously, they did it in a cross where we were. I think we defended very well in the first half. We didn't give many chances away. They had some corners, but main thing in football is scoring goals, and they did score today, and we didn't.
Obviously, with no trophy at the end of it, no Champions League, this is ending up being one of United's worst seasons in a generation. Luke Shaw's just come out and said that you as players need to look at yourselves to decide if you're good enough to play for Manchester United. In your view, as one of the senior players in this squad, are your squad mates good enough to play for a club like United?
No, I don't have to speak from the point of view of the other ones. I can speak for myself. Wasn't good enough. Season wasn't nowhere near what it should have been. We knew this trophy would make things look a little bit better, but still the season was bad, and we have to deal with that. Luke is right. Everyone else needs to look at himself now, and decide what we want to be from here and going forward.
How do you assess where Manchester United are as a club right now? What do you think needs to change now this summer to get it back to where you think it should be?
There's been a lot of things that needs to change at this club, and I think everyone is aware. It's not for me to point the changes that have to be done. I can't make that change. So anything that I say wouldn't make any difference here.
What can you change? What can the players change?
Try to be better, try to do more, try to find a way of improving ourselves and help the team to win games.
For yourself, looking further forward, without the Champions League, it comes with financial implications for the club. Do things like that, do they affect your future at Manchester United?
No, it's not the first time that happens. Being in Europa League always have always happened that. My point of view has never been the financial side. So if I want to go for a financial side, I will always have the option to go. But that's not the thing. I think what I want is to win trophies and be involved in the best competitions. As obviously, next season we won't have that chance.
When we spoke to Ruben Amorim, he was more convinced than ever that he's the right man to take this club forward and to change what needs changing. Do you see his vision? Do you believe? Can you give the Manchester United fans the belief that he is the right man to turn the club around?
I do think he's the right man. Without a shadow, I don't think what happened this season shows exactly what he is as a manager. Obviously, it's the results always talk louder. But I do think he's the right manager for the future of this club. Either with me or not, I still think that he's the right man.
Diogo, how are you feeling?
Obviously sad. It's hard to find any emotions, anything for you to grab in terms of trying to be positive about something after a very tough season where you just had one opportunity to have a little bit of joy, to have something for you to grab on, and when then it's taken away from you, it's hard to accept. It's hard to put into words. But also, I think it sums up a little bit the season that we had, the roller coaster of emotions, the roller coaster of results, the inconsistency that we had. And this is going to be a tough time for us to reflect on it. I think we should do that as a club. As obviously as a dressing room, everyone inside this club, big reflection on this season and try to change things for the next one.
The fans are devastated. They've never been as low as this.
Yeah.
Can this get any better? What's going wrong?
I mean, it's even harder to think about it. Been here for a while. I don't. The last thing I need is, or the last thing I want is for the fans to feel that when you sign for this club, you always want to achieve big things. You want to be a part of something really good. Don't get me wrong. We had some very good moments in the last couple of years, but I know what the fans want. That's where we want to go. Believe me, that's what I want to do every day that I wake up, to put this club back on top. But ultimately, we need to be together. I think the last thing we need is to have this separation now between us and the fans. So I have no power in myself to ask for them to be beside us after what happened this season. But what I can say is that at least we need to start proving that they need to keep believing one more time, to be with us and believe that we're going to put the club where it belongs. So I'm going to stick by that.
Is the manager the right person to do that?
100%.
Why?
Because I see him every day. I know how much he suffers. Although sometimes he doesn't show it, but he suffers a lot. He wants to put this club on top. I think he has the right values, the right standards, the right way to think, and we just have to believe as much as him. He has very good faith in us. He always tries to help us, always tries to improve us. But now it's our time to step up, obviously, and do better next season.